there, and
Yeah.
big kid, 6'1", plays football.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see the progression of, okay, he loves to eat.
Mm-hmm.
The other kid forgets to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, guys, well, this is, if I can just have these consistent patterns and this is what the result is,
Mm-hmm.
then hey, even if you don't do what I do perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
this is where it's going to take you. I guess it would be more, to answer your question in a roundabout way, an example
Mm-hmm.
of, okay, if somebody stopped me and, oh, wow, what do you do for abs? I'm like, well, I don't really do anything for abs. I just have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I could, really kind of be an example like you with every time somebody probably sees you, they're like, wow, what do you do? You look
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I own a gym. Oh, well, that's why you're healthy. Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You're healthy because you make a lot of really good decisions, but that exterior portion of you draws people in for the conversation. So maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
why. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for
Does that
you,
make sense? Is that...
yeah. Yeah. And so for you, not only that like example piece to your sons,
Yeah.
But also I think an element is a confident piece.
Yeah,
Like you've
obviously.
done really well in aspects of your life, right? Not that everything's been easy and like handed to you, but you have some wins in the deposit of job and, your awesome wife, like Rachel, and now your kids, okay, you have a great family, you have a career, you have a great job, you have these wins. And this is an area, an aspect, like you live in your body every day, you live in your skin. And the fact that like, I don't feel proud of how I feel in my skin, that confidence factor is huge. And so also acknowledging that like, man, if I am more confident, if I feel better in my own skin, how is that going to bleed into you being a better parent?
It's going to translate
exponentially.
Yeah.
How is that going to bleed into like you being better in your relationship with Rachel? Like, great. How's it going to relate to you just having overall energy to translate into every other avenue that you pour into, like exponentially? And so a lot of times as we transition into adulthood, we lose our health, wellness, and fitness because we're developing these other avenues that are important. But at the end of the day, like this is what really determines our quality of life, is the shell that we exist in. And so it's really important that we put some discipline and just awareness into that. It's like your bank account. You put your money where it's going to get the most return. What are the interest rates? Like we know so much about it, but then when it comes to like, but I'm going to have pizza and beer. Like that's a huge withdrawal from really like when you're laying on your deathbed, like that's going to be a thing, like your body, your legacy, your life, not necessarily like your bank account and like all these other things.
That's a good point. In fact, I forgot when we went out to dinner the other night with you and your husband, we were talking about, just the whole crux of what we kind of based this podcast off of was this HELM theory, HELM. And you're right. So like the money aspect of what Rachel and I have done, we have a really healthy residual income. We don't have to really work, which is wonderful. And it took years.
That means you have
to
time to work out.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. We'll get on that. Don't let me forget that.
Yeah.
And then there's the L, I'm going backwards here, but M is in money, L is in love and relationships, which I pour everything I have into our, my marriage and stuff. We're coming up on 20 years here in August. And then the ethos of why am I alive? What am I doing? What's my purpose? All that. But then the health aspect, like that's that one area that of my HELM theory, it's like, all right, I've got these three, but to answer your question again, if I can get into shape and wow, look at my abs. Okay, I must have this H part of my HELM theory finally dialed in.
Yeah, and I would argue that that's the base. Like I would argue that like that is the most important thing that everything else exists on. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have mental clarity, you don't have energy, you don't have confidence, how is that going to impact all of those other things? I think it's the most important thing.